I did. If not, I'll die.
We'll never know.
We'll
never know.
We're about to find out. It's us. It's here.
It's
I
us.
gotta mute. There we go.
Okay, let me add the Discord, unless somebody else wants to add the Discord.
No.
Anyone want to take a turn adding the Discord?
No.
It's fun.
Do I have authority?
You do.
I think you do, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you the authority? Yeah, you do. You should have some amount. You have some amount of authority, Ems.
In
Yeah.
announcements?
Yeah, just
That's
add everyone.
at fucking everyone. Who gives a shit? Discord will tell you not to,
add.
but. Alright. But while all that is happening, welcome everyone to a podcast, JRPGs Part 2. The only podcast in existence where actively the streamer is getting threatened by basketball thugs straight outside of his window.
What?
Really?
Don't worry about
Right
it.
now?
Yeah.
The only podcast in existence.
Did you beat them in hoops?
No. They're just here to intimidate me and take my land.
You know, as they do.
I feel like whatever we're talking about on this podcast is less interesting than whatever's happening over there.
I agree. This isn't about JRPGs anymore. It's about J-Man's land claims.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
JRPG.
But I gotta wait until fucking.
Everybody.
Oh, there it goes. I can finally read Twitch chat. Finally, thank God.
Been about a month
But,
chat. How's everybody doing?
I gotta refresh because I can't read.
Chatter is silent and cannot answer us.
Well, hey, Matt,
no.
Secret Twin.
Oh,
I'm sorry to see that you're
Hi,
bored as
is this a
fuck.
podcast?
Is this a podcast?
Yes.
Well,
This is a
yeah.
podcast.
This is indeed
It
a
is.
Sure
podcast.
is.
Might be.
This may shock you.
This is JRPGs Part 2, featuring such hit personalities as Jay, Yam, Nico, Carl, James, and J-Man. But that guy got
What
fired, so
J-Mans?
don't talk about him.
Now
Which
we have
one?
Creaky Bones J-Marb.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody. I just changed my IP address. They'll never know.
The basketball thugs will never find you now.
Yeah, I was about to say, did we fire
Except
you or
for
did
the
the
ones-
basketball thugs fire you?
Except for the one standing in your immediate vicinity.
It's fine.
No, they have no idea.
J-Man has
You're
entered
kind
witness
of-
protection from basketball thugs.
You're kind of Dunyan Rings with those guys. They know where you are.
Yeah. You see, I'm at the perfect angle where at any time, if I need to just look out my window and have a stare down with one of them, I can.
That's fair.
That's really all I'm looking for in a property in general,
So,
you know?
let me tell you guys a tale. So,
Okay.
I have really bad luck whenever I stream on Surprise Round or this channel, where every time somebody outside my home will decide to make the most ludicrous amount of noise as soon as I start streaming. And, normally, I'll go out there and tell them to shut up, as when I was on Valor, I just did that. And then, this time, though, I'd feel bad about going out there and telling them to shut up, because it's a bunch of basketball kids who are disguised as thugs, who will...
Oh.
And I'd feel bad about going out there telling them to shut up. And they're not technically on my lawn, so I don't have a good enough excuse.
But what if they're thugs disguised as basketball kids?
That would be a problem for tomorrow.
I'm going to be honest, I could just probably sit here and banter for a few hours. Like,
Honestly.
this is fun.
But,
Who would pay to see that?
No one.
Everyone.
well, if Rooster Teeth has taught us anything, a lot of people.
Oh.
Well, I assume everyone here listening would, because this is free. Haha, japes.
Yeah. But anyways, we got a decent amount of folks in now. I think it's a good time to get started on a podcast, JRPGs Part 2. Thanks, Franklin Gothic Font. You're my favorite.
Shoutouts to Franklin Gothic.
So my favorite font. I'm just gonna go on a tangent for a sec.
Yeah, no, this is...
Because I had a
this
friend
is-
who was getting a tattoo, and she was looking through all the fonts that they have on whatever website you get fonts off. I think it's called the font. And there was a font called Thick Bitch.
Ooh, nice.
So Thick Bitch is my favorite font.
Is it spelled like you think it would be?
No, this is before double C.
Ah, damn.
Okay, so welcome to a podcast, JRPGs. Actually, joke's on you. It's a podcast, fonts.
Fonts.
Welcome to the
Look forward
Fontcast.
to our welcome to the Fontcast. Look forward to our sequel, where we go through hours and hours of bad clip art.
Yeah. Ooh, finally. But
I would be okay with that.
Our
Honestly,
next
that actually sounds
playthrough.
like fun.
we are
next
losing
playthrough is gonna
viewership
be
at an alarming rate.
Makes sense.
So I think it might be good for us to get started. So I know we have right now. Carl, James, and Jay have things they want to talk about. I know Jay wants to go last.
Yeah.
We could have an entire episode of just Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna fucking babble endlessly
I was
about
literally
that game.
I was saying this to Glass and Piff earlier today. So this is not a mean thing I'm saying about you, Jay, but I was telling them. So yeah, I know Jay wants to do his thing, but issue is I know him, so it's gonna take at least 2.5 amount of the regular time.
Yeah. You know me.
But yeah, Carl or James, which one of you wants to go first? I know Carl.
I like Carl though.
Fight to the death.
Well, James volunteered me, so I guess it's me.
Well, alright.
Alright.
James jumps off cliff. Well, I ring myself out. You go first.
Alright, so Carl.
I'm here to talk about Golden Sun.
Yeah.
One of the fucking best, and one of the games that got me into JRPGs.
How about I turn on the Golden Sun OST?
Do that shit.
It's really good. Not only do I think is it one of the best RPGs in general, I mean, not only is it like the best JRPG on the Game Boy Advance, it has aged so well. So I guess the general gist of it is, the world of, I believe it's called Weird, is there are these people called adepts, and they're able to use the power of alchemy, which is basically the 4 classical Greek elements to do magic and such. They are Earth adepts and they're all based on various planets. So Earth is Venus, Jupiter is wind, Mercury is water, and Mars is fire. And basically, the 4 main protagonists of the first game go on this journey to try and stop the currently unknown villains who are trying to reawaken the power of alchemy in the world, because in ancient times it was sealed, because you know what happens when people get too much power. They kind of start trying to kill each other.
They turn into dragons.
And fight and set the world on fire.
And fuse with your dad and turn into dragons.
That's a spoiler, Jay.
Damn it, stop combining with my dad, Alchemist!
Stop fusing my dad with my friend's dad and mom.
How terrifying.
So, in addition to just the world being something that I'm a sucker for, obviously, I really like the class system in this game. So, in the world, to help you out, there are these little djinn, and each djinn is assigned to an element. And based on the combination of djinn on your characters, you will change your class. So, if the basic class is like, oh, I'm just gonna stack all of the Venus djinn on my Venus adepts, and they'll have really strong magic, but their stats will be kind of eh. But if you say, oh, I'm gonna put a whole bunch of Mars djinn on my Venus guy with maybe 1 or 2 Venus djinn, their stats will be a lot better, and their magic will be a lot stronger, and you can mix and match up to if you have 3 of each of different elements on one character, their stats will be crazy, and the class system is incredibly complex. And the best part is that your classes can change in battle. Because
it makes me think of a more in-depth version of the junction system, weirdly, when you describe it.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, if you really wanted to get into the nitty-gritty, each djinn gives you small bonuses to certain stats. So if you really, really wanted to optimize, you could be like, oh, I'm gonna put this djinn on this person because it gives them the most strength. I never did that. I just did elements on certain people. Because
you can't have a JRPG without potential min-maxing.
Of course.
Now, see, tiny baby Jay was extremely too stupid to figure any of this out. So I'm like, okay, all the earth djinn on the earth guy, all the water djinn on the water guy,
And
fucking roll! And that game was the hardest in the universe for me.
and it's entirely doable to beat the base game and do all that shit with that team.
Yeah, it's technically doable.
It's gonna be easier if you don't do that, but you can do that.
That's a mistake.
So what I was saying is your class can change in battle because all of the Jin, in addition to like boosting your stats and stuff, have an effect when you use them in battle, but you give up a chunk of your stats when you do that.
Oh.
So like one Jin could be like, it just does a huge hit of damage. Some of the most broken Jin are like, there's one called Flash, which reduces all damage you take by 75% for a turn.
Fuck.
It's absolutely insane. A very common strategy is to just have two people alternate using these types of Jin forever while the other two do the damage.
Oh my god.
Because you just won't die. But if you keep using all these Jin and plummet your stats, you get you get the ability to access summons, which are, first off, they're really, really cool looking.
Yeah.
Especially for Game Boy Advance. For like sprite work, it's some of the most impressive I've ever seen.
Oh,
Those are the only things I remember about that game.
Yeah,
Summons are
like,
incredible.
can you roll a summon showcase in the background while
Sure
Carl's talking?
thing.
I'm gonna look at it while you do that because it's so cool. So in the first game, it was just like, oh, each element has rank 1, 2, 3, and 4 summon, and they're kind of cool. But in the second game, they got weird and combined a whole bunch of different elements to make weird summon. Also, Thor flies in on a hammer in the 3D remake.
There it is.
And then turns the hammer into a spark plug, so that's cool. Which, so the first game is actually only half of the story. They entirely meant to put 2 games together, but because it's a Game Boy Advance game,
Those videos.
it did not fit at all.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's about as high quality as you're gonna get.
I'll just do this one.
That's about as good as it looked in game 2.
There it goes. Okay.
So yeah, and between the first and second, so the first game takes place, and that covers the story of your first party chasing people to the Mercury and the Venus Lighthouse. And the second game, you follow the antagonist's party as they finish the other 2 lighthouses.
Yo.
And eventually you meet up with your first party again, and you have a full party of 8 people. And,
So you get to see the antagonist side?
yeah, you play as the antagonist because you find out basically at the beginning of the game, your village has a horrible disaster and a whole bunch of people die or are implied to die. Spoilers, they don't. And some people get kidnapped. So your friend Jenna, who is a fire adept, gets kidnapped at the start of the game by a masked man who she finds out is her brother, who she thought was dead. And he
Of course.
he is in the antagonist. You actually get that revealed right at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, no, that's... It's weird because you'd expect it to be an endgame twist, but it's immediately like, Jenna's like, by the way, I have a dead brother, and you're like, I have the option yes or no, and and then later she's like, what, my dead brother? It's been 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes.
It's been 5 minutes, and they're like, hey, Felix, take off your mask, and she's like, Felix? And he takes off his mask, and it's like, hey, I'm your brother. And
you're like, yes option.
yes option. Because the main character is silent and only uses emojis.
Yeah, you can only emoji at people, it's great.
Everyone talks for you. And then in the second game, your main character from the first game is no longer a silent protagonist, and it's great.
It's super cool.
Yeah, like, you do actually play through the section where the brother and the family die, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And it leads to like a really good moment later in the game where Garrett, who is the first game's fire adept, who is kind of the idiot meathead, like Ryan from
yeah.
Who played that. He talks about, oh yeah, your family with me, Jenna, or something. He complained about how he like lost, I think, one of his parents or something, or how they've like kind of surrogately adopted Jenna, and then she mentions like Garrett, you haven't actually lost anyone. You don't know anything about how I feel about having essentially lost both her parents and her brother. It's a really sad moment.
Yeah.
A little cliche, but hey, it's still
it's good.
really well written, though.
Okay.
But anyway, since you get your first party back in the second game, you could transfer your data over from the first game to the second.
Oh, cool. What does that affect?
You get all of their items and all of their gem.
Yep.
So the only way to fight the super boss in the second game to get the ultimate summon is to transfer a completed party from the first game.
It's insane.
And
Also,
yeah.
yeah. Do you want to tell them how you transfer that data?
Yeah. You either have 2 Game Boy Advances and a link cable, which, that's not reasonable to ask.
No.
Or you enter in a 260 character long password.
Oh,
Wow!
That's the one I did.
That's
200
the one I did.
How? I'm sorry. How long was that code?
260 characters.
Longer than a Twitter post.
oh, that
It's
ain't too
fine.
bad.
Of a random mix of capital, lowercase letters, and numbers. Fun, right? It's fun.
It actually was, because
It was kind of cool.
It was pretty cool. It completely, that was a hardware limitation more than anything else.
Reminds me of the good old thing you'd have to do if you want to transfer your save data from from Oracle of Ages to Oracle of Seasons. And
Yeah.
so there was a pretty decent chance that the game would break
Fuck up, yeah.
and you could not progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a
GBA.
260 character password using the Game Boy Advance to type.
Yep.
Oh my god.
200.
That's so funny. I was gonna ask you, man, I've never played Golden Sun before, so name, a really stupid fact about the game that will
There it
sell
is,
me on
The
it. And I guess
260
that's
character
it!
password. That is the dumbest fact of the game.
It kind of reminds me of the way to transfer your data in, between Fire Bloom Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, which is you need to have a backwards compatible Wii. They don't make it anymore. It was like the first wave of Wiis, and then they were like, nah.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's easy on emulator. Double thumbs
Sure
up.
is.
Yeah.
I'm
what
not
are other-
saying you should steal video games, but you should definitely
I am.
There's a reason why people.
steal those ones. Steal those ones in particular. Nintendo won't print it again. Get the message out to the people.
It's true.
They're gonna get fucked. Go pirate the Tellius games. You heard it here.
Anyway.
Jay and Amy are arrested.
If on the start menu when you're naming the main character Isaac, if you press, I think, select 5 times, you'll get to name the rest of the party. And then
What
when
the
you're naming the
fuck?
4th character, if you enter some weird combo of inputs, I can't remember what it is. It's not quite the Konami code, but it's similar. You get to name the villains as well.
What?
Yeah,
I didn't know this.
You
What
can
the
name
fuck?
Felix, Sheba, Alex, and Can you name Satros and Minardi? I forget. You
Oh
might
my
be able to.
God. That's
But
so
you can name
cool.
everyone.
That's neat.
It was really cool. God, I'm just gonna jump all over the place because I'm
That's
completely incoherent about this stupid game.
I also
listen, it's
the
important.
name thing reminds me a bit of this little Easter egg in Dragon's Quest 2, where if you try to name your character the name of the main character of the first game, the good old priest who's about to baptize your baby ass goes, "The fuck's wrong with you? That guy's the closest to the gods. You can't name him that."
That's great.
Anyway, that is really good. So, you know how most JRPGs have, you're gonna fight the super unbeatable enemy early in the game, they're just gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
So, when you get to the Mercury Lighthouse, you fight one of the main villains, Satros, who is a Mars adept, and you are pathetically weak compared to him. But because they just lit the Mercury Lighthouse, his power is scaled back dramatically because Mercury is the opposite of Mars. And
Oh.
your Mercury Adept, Mia, who you just got, has unlimited NP for the fight, and she is really good.
Mia's my favorite.
Mia's great. Oh, fun fact about all the Mercury Adepts. All the playable ones have Ahoge.
Yeah.
Oh.
In all the games, they all have an Ahoge. So that's how you know they're going to be playable. Blue hair and an Ahoge. It's important.
Wish,
Yeah, Damon?
I would say, I wish all the images of these lighthouses weren't incredibly tiny.
Yeah.
They are
that's-
incredibly tiny because there's no big image of any of them.
Damn.
I don't know if there's any fan art of them. I haven't really looked. But basically, the reason the villains are trying to light these lighthouses because when alchemy was sealed away forever ago to try and stop people from killing each other reasonably, the planet started to die because it got cut off from the things that made it. So they kind of, in the middle of the story, they show a map of, this is the world now, this is how it used to be, and it's like twice as big everywhere.
Hmm.
So the world is slowly dying but your main characters don't know that unleashing this power will be a good thing to save the world, as opposed to, so it's kind of a, do we unleash this power and risk people fighting each other to the death with all this new magic that comes out, or do we just let the planet die?
Yeah. Do we decide to trust in humanity to not kill each other when granted an incredible amount of power, or do we trust humanity's ingenuity to get us out of a situation on a dying planet?
Yeah. So pretty much about halfway through the second game, when your party from the second game, which is the antagonist of the first game, meets the protagonists of the first game, you pretty much have to convince them that you're doing this for a good cause. You're not trying to actually just
Yeah.
kill the world and start magic death civilization again.
And your friend's a giant evil eyeball who definitely.
He's not evil, he's just an eyeball. He's an outside observer J. He should be a J character because he's an eyeball.
That's true. I
The
do
immoral
like.
outside
I like-
observer.
I like the fact that he slaps the shit out of what's his face at the end of the
He
video
does
game.
slap the
too.
shit out of Alex at the end of the game. He tries to get the power of the United Lighthouses, which is the power of the Golden Sun. And he's also like, ha, punked you, kid. I gave some of it to the silent protagonist of the first game.
Isaac's cool. I like
Also, I
Isaac.
made them kill their dad.
Oops.
Oops.
That's why I don't like Giant Eyeball. He made me kill my dad, who was also a dragon.
Well, your dad and your friend's dad, and also your friend's mom, who
I
is
was
also
gonna
a
say-
dragon.
Yeah, so the game's actually really fucked up and sad in that way. Like you're constantly killing people's dads. It doesn't stop.
Doesn't stop. Forever you're killing people's dads. So if you ever see a multi-headed dragon, you're probably killing someone's dad.
Yeah, because for some reason, all of the people who are unlocking the power of the lighthouses have the ability to both fuse and turn into dragons, and also to deprive protagonists of parents.
Oh.
Those are all their superpowers.
Yeah. That's great.
Carl, what is one of your most memorable moments from Golden Sun? It could be a moment you played through, a character that you really, really connected with, or something, a gameplay situation that you as a player just went, oh shit, this is cool.
Beating the cheating ass super boss.
Oh.
I have 100% of the game, and the super boss of the second game is absolutely ridiculous. So there are 4 super bosses you have to fight to get to him. Yeah, 4.
So
The
and
first one-
this is
yeah.
side content?
Yeah, this is side content.
Okay.
But it is really fun. But I'll get into the super boss in a bit. In terms of actual story moments, it is probably at the end of the first game when you beat Satros and Marnardi, who fuse into a dragon. Surprise, surprise.
That's what they do.
You beat them before they light the lighthouse, and you're like, holy crap, we've actually beat them. We stopped them. We saved the world. And then Felix walks into the screen and throws the Venus star to light the lighthouse in. And you find out that, hey, they're not actually being kidnapped or forced to do what they're doing. They chose to do it.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool moment. And then he falls off the lighthouse to save his girlfriend? I don't know if Felix and Sheba are dating or not.
Yeah, that was never super clear because he goes silent in the next game, so you never really find out.
Sure does. Sure does.
Which, like, I liked that. I like that little... There's that little moment of like, oh man, I like Isaac because I play as this character and I choose his like emotions and responses, and then you see him from the other side in the sequel, and he's like saying shit, and then you like him also, and it's like, oh man, I like this guy on 2 levels, not only because I view him as me, but also because he is not a douchebag. Good job,
He is
Isaac.
not a douchebag. I'm gonna look up how old Felix and Sheba are. Just see, in Lost Age, Felix is 18. So, you know, standard anime protagonist age. Sheba's 14. I guess that's a little weird,
Yeah,
but I
that's
don't.
weird.
But it's also Japan. I don't know. Maybe he treats her like a sister. Like I said, he goes silent, so we never actually know.
Yeah, I remember their setup being like, he gives a shit about her for question mark reason, and then, yeah, after that you don't find out really why.
Basically, they kidnap her.
There's a lot of kidnapping in this
They
game.
kidnap her to get into the lighthouse, I believe.
Yeah.
And that, but then, because their group does not have a Jupiter adept until they kidnap her. And then I guess they end up actually liking her because Sheba's a good person. She's nice, and she joins them to actually save the world. As opposed, see, from the first game, I guess my favorite character is it's either Isaac or Ivan. I think. I really like the whole main cast, but I really like Ivan.
Ivan's a good kid.
He's a good kid. He is your party's Jupiter adept, and he is an orphan who you find out is raised in like a temple. Later on, when you get your reveal synergy, so he's like a kind of intuitive, quiet kid. He's a cute boy.
Yeah, he's good.
And his sister Hama is also really cool, but she does not have full art. She just has a face.
Interesting. Quick question. What do you think of the more later games in the series?
I wish there was a 4th, because the 3rd one, you go on this journey to stop Synergy vortexes. Synergy is the name of the magic in this world. You go on to stop the Synergy vortexes, get sidetracked by the antagonist trying to some big eclipse or something. I don't remember. I only played it once.
Yeah.
And then the game ends on a cliffhanger when you go back to the main village and there's a giant vortex there. And it is never explained because there is not a 4th game.
So
Was it a primary Nintendo property or like?
It was.
I believe it's it's one of those weird nebulous
Second
it's
party
kind of-
things?
yeah.
Okay.
It's a Nintendo game, but the studio that really Nintendo just kind of helped fund it.
Yeah.
It's not an actual main studio Nintendo game, I think.
Okay.
Isaac is in Smash Brothers, I believe, as an assist trophy, though, so at least they're still recognizing it in some way.
Yeah, I really wanted him to be an actual character in it, and I'm sad he's just an assist trophy.
Yeah. Shame.
Because he would have been... I know he would have been another sword boy, and we have enough sword boys.
What kind of
Never
powers
too
does?
many sword boys.
Oh,
Banjo
yep.
Kazooie's the sword boy. Get ready for it.
Bird is a sword.
Yeah.
Bird is sword.
Bird is sword.
Bird is everything. Anyways.
Sword and
What
gun.
are Isaac's powers? Because it seems like he doesn't just have sword. It seems like
So
he-
every adept, in addition to being able to control the element itself, can also do some other things. Like Earth adepts can make plants grow. I don't know if this is just an Earth power because Garrett has this power too. They can push and shove things, pull things. Mercury adepts can freeze water to make ice pillars, and Wind adepts have the ability to read minds and dispel illusions. So what? In the first game, it's Mercury and Earth adepts have the ability to heal. And in the second game, Fire adepts also have that ability. It's kind of weird what they let he will do.
Yeah.
But generally, in addition to just controlling the element itself, you can do some minor telekinetic things with it as well.
Hmm.
And it manifests as giant grabby hands.
Yeah, it manifests as giant grabby hands or wiggly circles.
It manifests as Glover too.
Oh no, you get that out of here right now.
J-Man, I was gonna talk for 2.5 hours about Glover, how you can.
Well,
I would be down for that. But yeah, so I guess at this point I'll just get into the super boss bullshit that I wanted to go into. So in the first game, I believe there's one super boss called Dreadbeard or something, and he is on an isle you have to go through a weird desert puzzle to get to and beat 10 something puzzles up floors on this isle. And he's a pretty he's a boss you can beat with standard tactics. He hits kind of hard, but he doesn't do anything too tricky.
So hard for little me.
If you're using the base party stuff, he will be difficult.
Yup.
But in the Lost Age, there are, I believe, 4, or is it 5? I'm trying to count. Trying to find them all.
the EX boss of Golden Sun's one name is Deadbeard.
Oh, that's
Deadbeard. That's right.
That's exceptionally bad.
And okay, that's right. There are 4. There's Sentinel, Valakar, Star Magician, and Dullahan. So I'll go over Valakar first, because he is interesting in concept, but he is also a total pushover. So the thing he does is he has an ability that puts all of one party member's Jin into standby mode, which is the mode that lets you summon.
Ooh.
And he has the ability to summon from your Jin, but you can also summon them. So generally, you just summon them before he does anything, and he just wastes turns giving you free summons, and you would not.
That's fun.
It's fun in concept. I like the idea. He is a weenie. The next one, Sentinel, is I believe he completely blocks all magic.
Oh.
When you fight him, so you can't use spells against him.
Oh.
And or he dispels you all the damn time. He's one of the easier ones. He's just kind of tedious because he regenerates a lot and steals your magic.
That reminds me specifically of one of the optional mid bosses from the final dungeon of Xenogears, where the final boss gets weaker the more of these guys you beat. But this one guy, if you use any special moves on him, he'll just go, nah, and just drain all of your bullshit that lets you do special moves, and you can't get it back, because that game doesn't give you recovery items.
Oh yeah, Sentinel Steel's, he's immune to magic. You can summon against him, and you can use physical attacks. You can't use spells against him.
Okay.
Which isn't that bad, because at that point in the game, spells start to fall off a little bit, and you're using the super unleash effects of your weapons by that point. Third one is Star Magician, whose gimmick is he summons balls, and the balls do different things. There's one ball that explodes, there's one ball that repeatedly blasts you with the highest level lightning synergy, which is Spark Plasma. There is one that heals him every single turn and removes all of his status effects. And there is one that I believe reduces the damage he takes to practically nothing for that turn. So in general, you are going to just you kill the balls, so he has the maximum number of balls that just shoot lightning at you, because those are the ones that are the easiest to deal with.
Yeah.
And it becomes a literal juggling act of killing balls and trying to punch him in the face at the same time. Now for the big fuck you super boss, Dullahan, who guards the summon that does a shit ton of damage and fully heals your team when you use it, is he's bullshit. He attacks 3 times a turn, because that's fun.
Of course.
He can summon the summon Charon, which has a chance to instantly kill you when he uses it, which is fun. He can put a death effect on a party member, which means they will die in a few turns, or just kill them.
Oh, good.
He can curse you, which he can doom you. He can cast instant death on you or curse you, which kills you in a few turns. He can change whatever element he is, which I believe actually doesn't do anything in this game for some reason. It's just a pass, give you a breather move. He can haunt you, which makes you take damage equal to a quarter of the damage you dealt in that turn. So if your person does a lot of damage, or you summon something, you'll just kill yourself.
Good.
Oops. Oops.
I'm Wobbuffet now.
Oh.
Oops, I'm Wobbuffet. He has an attack that called True Collide, which does a shit ton of damage and also drains HP equal to the damage it dealt. He can dispel all your buffs. He can seal your synergy. He has an attack called Fulminous Sage. It was supposed to be Fulminating Edge, but it got mistranslated.
Oh, that's hysterical.
And it's just an attack that does triple his normal damage.
Good.
And none of these are even his most powerful attack, which is, so you know how I mentioned when you use a Djinn, it goes into like standby mode and you lose some stats?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, after you summon, you get, those stay in that mode, but you get one Djinn back a turn. So you kind of recover them very slowly and get your stats back. He has an ability called Djinn Storm, which puts every single Djinn on all of your party members into recovery mode.
Oh.
You cannot summon, you lose all of your class stat bonuses and all of your magic, basically. You become total weenies and he will kill you. And yeah, that's his most devastating attack.
Dear sweet Jesus, Christmas Dolphin says, oops, it's mirror coat time. Yeah, valid.
Oh yeah, this is the Dark Dawn. I never fought him in Dark Dawn. I don't know if it's any easier. I believe he
comes back.
Yeah, he comes back.
Everybody's favorite, round 2.
Yeah, round 2 Dullahan.
Doesn't seem to be doing that much damage.
Oh, he's nerfed in the second one.
Oh, alright.
In Dark Dawn. He's nerfed in Dark Dawn. He is also that shielding aura thing that Matthew just used is the bullshit that protects you from so much damage.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah, one of the main strategies against him is to do the bullshit of protect, heal, reset every turn until he Djinn Storms you and just fucks you up.
Okay.
And then you swap someone back in who actually has stats. Luckily, he only does that every 6 or 7 turns.
And is it like RNG whether or not he'll do it? So you just
he has a cycle of attacks.
Okay.
He has a set pattern, luckily, which I didn't know when I fought him.
Yeah,
but apparently he does have a set list of this 3
that's
attacks.
the one mercy.
Yeah, he is really hard. You can cheese him by summon rushing, which is you just put all your Djinn into summon mode at the start of the battle, because you can do that outside of battle.
Yeah.
And summon as many hyper-powerful summons as possible to annihilate him. Because the HP cap in this game is pretty low, actually.
Oh, huh.
It's like, let me see, what's his HP?
Looking at this right here, they have like in the 700s for the most part.
He has 16,000 HP, which is not that much.
Yeah, for an endgame RPG.
Yeah, considering you can do with Isaac and Felix with the best weapon in the game, which you'll have by then, which you can fully choose to use its unleashed power every turn. You'll do like 1,000 damage with that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that much health. He just is devastating in his offensive power.
Okay. Oh.
Does anyone have any questions? Because I know I just kind of rambled.
No, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I mostly threw him out as I was going.
Yeah.
You heard my commentary about the grabby hand and the emojis.
Yeah, the grabby hand and the emojis. The second game is cool because you get some characters from the first game. You get the kids of the first game. In the first series, there is a baby who is the baby of pirates, and you find out that he has some magic.
The baby of pirates.
He's a pirate baby.
That sounds
He's a
like a
pirate baby.
Tinkerbell fucking standalone movie.
Yeah, he's a baby to some pirates, and in the Dark Dawn, in the third game, he's one of your party members, and he's like a ripped old man.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
He's like a 40-year-old guy joining these teenagers to save the world.
And I know the
I
second game
love
has
it.
a fucking werewolf too, so like that
Yeah,
sounds
she is also really cool. Sveta is awesome. She is just one of the strongest characters. Actually, she cheats when she turns into her fucking werewolf form.
Hey.
I like most of the cast of Dark Dawn too. Like, I like the game. I just want there to be a fourth one to solve any of the questions.
If you wish
Rather
hard
than
enough,
none.
maybe then you will get it.
I mean,
One day IS will have the money to
Oh,
actually
oh,
make
wait,
it.
there's one other serious problem with Dark Dawn.
What's that?
You know how most JRPGs have a point of no return?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the game?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, this is point of no return, you can't turn back after here. Dark Dawn has like 3 or 4 of those scattered throughout the game, and they don't really tell you about them. It's bad.
Sounds like a certain game series I've been playing a lot recently.
Sweats.
Yeah.
They sure don't like to let you go back, and they don't tell you at all. It's like,
Now,
it's bad.
what if I told you, Carl, there existed a game series where the end of every chapter is the point of no return?
I mean, that is still almost more forgivable than fucking Dark Dawn, where they just kind of had, oh, you wanted to get all the gin? Sorry, point of no return. You can't go get everything now.
So unless you know exactly what you're doing and how to get it, you're just
Unless you had a guide, which I
Better have
didn't
a
want
motherfucking
to. I
guide.
didn't want to do that.
That's awful.
Pardon me to assume that my baby JRPG wouldn't have points of no return
Oops.
scattered throughout the game.
Oops.
Oops.
Oops, no returns.
The other ones let you go back to wherever the hell you wanted eventually.
Emoji Boy Isaac doesn't like this.
Was there a new
Emoji
game?
Boy Isaac is not a fan.
Was there a new game plus?
No.
Ah!
I wish
Damn
there
it.
was. That would be
might have-
cool.
Yeah, that might have helped
No, wait.
alleviate some of that.
There was. There was a
Oh,
new
there
game
was-
plus,
there
but it
was
didn't
a
make the
new-
enemies any stronger. You were just ripped.
Ah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Well, you know,
At le-
better than nothing, but still.
Yeah, you can run through, get all the gin you missed, and then, like, be ready for the ball magician or whatever.
I think you still had to refine the gin.
Ugh.
Oh, boy.
You lost all your gin, but you kept all your levels and items.
Okay, that isn't too bad. Alright, anything else?
No, you should go play that game if you want a good JRPG.
Yeah,
Play
it's
Golden
on-
Sun and Lost Age.
Yeah.
They're both really good.
it's on, I believe it's
Game
on...
Boy Advance game.
Yeah, it's
You
on
can
the
easily-
Nintendo eShop, so if you have a...
It's also-
Yeah,
Oh,
you
shit.
can pay for it.
Mercy, thank you
Buy
for
it.
something.
Oh,
You
shit, you can actually
buy it.
buy it.
Buy
You
it.
can buy
and
a Nintendo game with money? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Buy an old Nintendo game with money. Please make them do it so they make Golden Sun 4. Please.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
You can't
It's a
buy
good
Sacred
series
Stones,
that
but you can
They
buy
did
gold.
dirty with
Fuck.
Dark Dawn.
Oh my god, Bearsy's been here for 1 whole year. Thank you for 12 months. of
Congratulations on being born a year ago.
subs. Congratulations on what the
Happy
fuck?
first birthday.
What are you? What?
Yeah.
You did it.
Jay,
I'm so confused.
it's Mercy's birthday.
Yeah.
Happy
Happy
birthday, Bear.
birthday!
But, yeah, up next, I believe, James, you had a certain series you want to talk about, but before you start
Alright.
that, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did you do your homework?
I did my homework up to a point.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So let me set up some backstory here. I've had a
Like
few.
disappointed mom, Jay.
I've
man.
had I've had about a month or so to think about what series I was gonna do, and I didn't have a strong community growing up,
Mhm.
so I kind of just wandered into what I wandered into. So JRPGs weren't really that big of a part of my formative years. That was more of late high school, like early college kind of. And eventually, I kind of thought about what series I'd talk about. I thought about talking about FE7, but that would just be, retreading old ground. Let's do something new. So I thought, I was thinking, oh god, I could talk about Mother 3 and how that emotionally wrecked me. I could talk about Disgaea 2 and how one of those endings is really fucked up.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
talk about how Mega Man X Command Mission might be a JRPG.
It is.
Really don't know about that. And then J-Man comments in, hey, you should play Charles Barkley, Shut Up and Sing.
Yes!
And while we will condone piracy on this channel, we will not condone plagiarism.
Yeah.
We do have some form of artistic tendency here.
Yeah.
Yes.
But no. The series I'm going to talk about is tentatively a JRPG, and that series is Monster Hunter.
Oh.
Oh, dope!
Ooh.
Monster Hunter Try.
You
Oh, hell
fuck.
yeah.
Monster Hunter is totally a JRPG.
Now, this is the part of the story where I would, typically give some backstory as to the lore and this plot of Monster Hunter and what the game is about, but look at that title, and that's all you need to know. It's you.
It tries.
You try to hunt monsters. So instead, I'll give my own little backstory to it. Basically, I'm in college. I'm trying to find things to keep my interest on the Wii, because there's not a lot of mature games on the Wii. The most I had back then was GoldenEye and the Conduit. And if you know anything about the Conduit, that's always fun. But
Conduit's ending is 11 out of 10.
no, Conduit 2's ending is like a 20 out of 10. Alien Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
So, I'm scrolling on Nintendo's online service and passing time watching trailers, and something for Monster Hunter comes up. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. My cousins had Frontier. I played a little bit of it, so I watched it. And I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool, but, there's something missing. And the minute I see a character wield a greatsword against a dragon, I'm like, all right, well, I'm buying it. So,
Mood.
Fair.
Monster
Fair.
Hunter Try. What can I say about it other than it was the first and only Monster Hunter to make it to North America on the current generation of consoles.
Yeah. And it also introduced a certain mechanic to the series that immediately got ripped away.
It was on, what's this was on again?
Wii.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, yeah, it was on the
It
Wii.
was originally going to be on the PS3, but Capcom was like, oh, we need to, Monster Hunter historically hasn't done well in the West, or it hasn't reached the kind of, outreach that we want it to. So to
God
kind
knows
of
what
help
reason.
out with that, we're going to release it on the Wii, because, everybody and their freaking grandmother had a Wii back then. And lucky for me, I got to enjoy this. So Monster Hunter Try actually has two parts to it. There's an offline mode and an online mode. And your offline mode is how my first playthrough was. Basically, you show up in this kind of fisherman kind of village where they're like, oh, the new hunter, we're glad you're here, but hey, listen, our island has been, undergoing some severe earthquakes that are just really fucking weird, and we don't know why. So we're gonna have you straight out of Monster Hunting College to go kill some dragons. How does that sound, champ? Horrifying? Cool, go kill a raptor. Due to its setting, Monster Hunter Try takes place mostly near a waterside village called Moga Village, which actually has a pretty cool Polynesian aesthetic going for it. It's actually really cool and unique. But this introduced swimming. Now, let me say something about Monster Hunter, and you can say whatever you want about the series, whether you like it or dislike it. If you want a textbook definition of innovation in gaming,
I have the guy, Chris, ready.
really, really well, Monster Hunter is the setting, because every mechanic in Monster Hunter, even if it's bad, will eventually find its way and get carried over to iteration and iteration until it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Swimming is back. freaking garbage because swimming is slow, and a good chunk of the new monsters were built around this mechanic in mind.
Yep.
The final boss of Monster Hunter Tri is basically a Viking-style water dragon.
Yeah, and it's fucking rad.
no.
So,
But
Awesome.
so swimming is slow, it's hard to maneuver, and because this is Tri existed in this really weird phase where it was just enough like old Monster Hunter that, you know, there was still like a wall to get over as far as a learning curve, but it was just new enough that a lot of innovations that you see in like Monster Hunter Worlds and even to this day, we're still getting like their bearings. So swimming didn't go over as well, but they still wanted to keep the mechanic of adding a Z-axis to your combat.
Mhm.
So eventually swimming got carried over to monster mounting, which is where you jump, slash, and you can basically attack from the air, and that's basically how the insect blade got created. So what you're seeing right now is Lagiacrus, and he's initially what the islanders think is the cause of their problem, because it's one of the great wyverns, the king of the seas himself. It's known to fight Rathalos and Raytheons like nothing, and he's just an all-around dick.
Yeah.
So you have your staple Monster Hunter moment where you're out doing a random quest, just living your life, and all of a sudden you jump into the water and there's the Lagiacrus and you have to run away.
Yep.
And
That's
another cool thing about Monster Hunter is if you're good enough, you can kill him right then and there.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, there's nothing that says that you can't kill Lagiacrus right there. It's just recommended that you don't.
Yeah, I love when games will do that.
Yep.
Like, your weapon needs to be above a certain sharpness, and, you know, you'll basically be whacking away at it until a certain point, but you can basically fight him.
Yep.
What else can I say about this? So, you kill him, and they're like, oh man, you know, we still have those earthquakes. I guess you gotta go out and do a few more missions until you find out what the real cause of the problem is. And that leads to the culmination of the single-player campaign. This is the boss. I linked it in the chat. Jay, I think you're gonna like this one. I don't know if you've seen
Yo!
this. This is Sheets.
Nico.
Yeah, this is
It has a theme to it that is really, really memorable. Basically, Shadius's gimmick thing is, it's this ancient old water dragon that has a condition where its horn eventually grows over one of its eyes because it's freaking massive.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is, in order to alleviate some of that pain, it's been rubbing that horn up against the foundations of the island itself. And
That's so
Whoa.
cool.
That's cool.
it's also heavily implied in the lore that the area you fight it in was a civilization that sank because it kept doing that. Its armor is entirely Viking-based and Viking-themed.
Oh, I love this thing
Like,
so
if
much.
you go on the wiki and go under equipment, you can see that like the Blade Masters and all of its weapons are like Viking inspired, and it's really, 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 really cool. But the thing that makes that final encounter with Shadius is the wide variety of monsters that you fight all the way up there. This game actually doesn't have that many monsters when you compare it to other installments, especially moving forward. But out of the lineup, only 3 monsters were from other franchises: Raytheon, Rathalos, and Diablos. A big thing for this was the introduction of the Leviathans, which include like Royal Ludroth, which is like an iguana water dragon. Agnacore, which is a fire kind of lizard that attacks by basically diving over lava, drilling into land, and up and over again.
Whoa.
You also had new monsters like Barioth, which is a mix between a saber-toothed tiger and a dragon. Giganox, which is the mixture between a leech and a dragon, which is really annoying and does a really good job of making you hate your life.
It's a pain.
I love
man.
him. Do not be mean.
I will bully him. I have earned the right.
No.
Yeah.
He's a good boy. He just wants to live in a cave.
Giganox consistently has been a hell beast for me, 'cause every damn time I try to farm those things, they never yield the things. Never. Especially since the...
He's cute.
Maybe you should just leave him alone and let him live in a cave.
Have you ever considered not fighting him?
The biggest pain in the ass.
Considered leaving him alone. You're the intruder here.
I mean, you're right. The biggest pain in the ass, though, was the Kurupeko, and I'm gonna bring him up later because he has plot relevance as much as I hate it.
And he has a mechanic. A mechanic that'll make all new players cry.
Kurupeko is the mixture between a parrot and a dragon. And he's on a basis level, you know, he's pretty straightforward. He's got, you know, a little short-ranged fire attack, and he can click his knuckles together, and they're basically flint, so he can clack them together again and create a big old explosion. But the thing that makes the Kurupeko a pain in the ass is, one, he's a coward. If you knock him out of his cry, or you beat him up a certain point, he'll look at you, startle, and start hauling tail away from you.
Oh.
And
Don't be mean.
as you can imagine, because he's the mixture between a parrot and a dragon, he has the very, very unique mechanic of being able to mimic the cries of other monsters.
Oh.
Now, the first time you fight him, he mimics the cries and he summons a bunch of mini raptors, right? And they're annoying, but whatever. A little bit higher up, he mimics the cry of the mama raptor. So you're like, okay, well, shit, I can kill her and get some rewards, but, oh man, my life got more complicated. On higher ranks, he can mimic the cry of the Raytheon.
No.
Yeah!
Oh.
So, out of nowhere, you can have to deal with a Raytheon.
Oh, not just that, he will...
Raytheon wasn't in that area.
He will do that on lower difficulties too sometimes, it's just rarer.
Yeah!
Oh,
Sure will.
Good.
So, you...
Consider not being mean to him.
I agree.
No.
I agree with you.
So, you play through the single-player campaign, and this is like... Keep in mind, this is well over 300 hours of my life I've sank into this offline campaign alone. And the game goes, okay, cool. Well, now you can go online. And this brings me to the second part of Monster Hunter Tri, which is the online mechanic. Now, say whatever you want about Nintendo's current online infrastructure. Back then, pretty decent, actually. Basically, the gimmick is, instead of going to this, instead of being stationed in this kind of water village, you go from that to being airship flown into the middle of a desert city with a giant horn in the middle of it. And it's called Lock Gate. And how the online system in Monster Hunter worked, and I don't know if it's changed any because I haven't played Worlds, but you'd basically go up to a board and the game would go, okay, what are you looking for? And I'm just starting out, I don't know what to expect. So I just go, okay, I want to clear low rank. And it puts you in a lobby with other people who are looking to do the same thing you're doing.
Yep.
So if you were wanting to hunt something like specific, like a Rathalos or Lagiacrus, you could do that relatively easy. And this is where I made most of my friends in high school.
Nice.
And it's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this game in particular, because it has a very sentimental value to me in the sense that it's where I made most of my online friends. Like, and I didn't really expect to do that, but we would like... I met one of my best friends of 12 years through this game. We have had very serious life talks to the point where we had to talk some friends down from suicide through this.
Holy
And
shit.
all around, this is where the game became something where I just did to one of the more positive influences of my life.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And at the time, my character was named Cloud, and
like you do.
yeah, because I was 14 and thought, oh, I mean, what else am I gonna call myself when I use a greatsword?
Yeah.
But because of the experiences I forged through online, every time I play a new Monster Hunter, I keep my character name from Tri.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, Monster Hunter Tri Online has... God, it had 2 hunter ranks, high rank and low rank. Low rank is just what you've been doing the whole online. And depending on how you played it, you could play online, you could play your offline and online content asynchronously. So what you would do offline would carry over online. And coming after I played offline, it kind of, like, I didn't have any issue with old content, but there were people who were just getting into the game who just started playing online.
Yeah.
So this is where I got introduced to what makes the Monster Hunter community really good, and that was the willingness to help mentor other players and give them pointers.
Mhm.
And it's been one of the strongest staples of Monster Hunter. And the low rank, low rank had its own end boss. So you fought the Shidius on offline, but online you fought the Gen Moran. Jay, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Gen Moran.
I sure have not.
It is a giant whale mountain dragon.
Oh,
And the mechanic of the fight is that you and 4 other hunters have to get on a sand ship. And the entire fight is on this sand ship. You have cannons, you have bow guns, and you have harpoons. And your goal is to take this thing down. And it would... before it just demolishes your ship, because the whole fight, it'll rain down sandstones, it'll ram into your ship, and you basically have to use everything on board to kind of stop it from attacking and keep it from basically reducing your ship's vitality to 0.
Yep.
Oh, that's so
And
fun.
You could bind it and then get on its back and mine some of its ore.
Yeah.
You could attack it, you could shatter its horns.
And-
So good.
In Monster
Oh
Hunter
my
4, you actually open the game with fighting one of them.
You sure
Yeah.
do.
There's a subspecies
Oh,
in
yeah, I do remember
4. There's a subspecies in 4. I think it's Duran Moran.
Yeah.
Where it's just that, but with a mono horn.
Ooh.
The coolest part of that, the phase 1 of that fight, is it'll take enough damage and go, all right, screw this shit. And it'll dive under the sand, go out a ways ahead of you, and start barreling towards the front of your ship. And at the helm of your ship, there's something called a Dragonator, where you can basically, it's like a drill on the front of your ship that you can basically cancel out its attack and do a huge amount of damage.
So as we all know, the heavens is just another word for dragon.
Yeah, of course.
And you gotta time it just right in order to stop it from basically doing a massive amount of damage to your ship. And that's like the climax of low rank. So you go, then you get into high rank, right? Same old, except, okay, you get to fight a Kurupeko, and this one's like a beefy Kurupeko.
Mm-hmm.
And you're fighting him, and you're beating him up, and then he does a cry that you're not familiar with. It's not a Raytheon cry. It's not any cry you've heard of, but you figure you shrug it off, and it's no big deal. And from the ground,
Oh my god.
from the ground, breaks out Devil Jump.
Yeah, my
This-
boy.
Turtle.
This guy is the thing that makes high rank hard.
It's the stomach with a tail!
Yep.
Yeah.
He is-
Cutie!
Angry
Oh, I love
pickle.
him.
His
Devil
lore is
Joe.
crazy.
Have you
This
considered
is the
not
thing
being
I
mean?
think
There,
of
there
when I
are
think of Monster Hunter. I have spent hours analyzing this thing's design to for like no reason other than for
Godzilla.
fun. He's
Yes.
just a stomach with a tail because he wants to
Yes.
eat everything.
Yeah.
His tail is a giant fat deposit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Carry on.
I love him.
His lore is that there are monsters in Monster Hunter which are more equated to like animals. They just have a habitat, they have a life, they have likes and dislikes, and if you just leave them be, they'll probably just go about their day, right? Devil Joe is the one example of Monster Hunter where it's just a monster. Its lore is
It's
that it
hungry.
has a high internal body temperature, which causes it to always be hungry. So this thing will hunt anything. It'll hunt dragons. It'll hunt elder dragons. It'll hunt leviathans. It'll hunt other Devil Joe. And it will just do everything it can to just get food. And you might be thinking, well, okay, but as long as he stays in a particular habitat, there's nothing to worry about, right? No. No, this guy has such a hardy skin that he can literally go fucking anywhere
Yay.
and live in any habitat and
Yeah, hungry
just
boy.
survive just fine. And he is the biggest pain in the ass.
And there's-
I love him. He just wants to eat food.
I just want to point out, there are variants of Devil Joe that are even powerful than him, including one variant where he has grown so pissed off that he is literally emitting wings made out of anger from his eyes.
There is
that
Savage.
for Heavenly King Devil Joe.
There's Aberrant Devil Joe, where it's just nothing but muscle. There's Savage Devil Joe, which is just he's pissed off all the time.
Yeah, and then he grows anger wings out of his eyes.
Yeah. There's one challenge quest where you are thrown in an arena and you have to fight 2 Devil Joes at once.
Yeah.
And you get about 5-10 minutes until the other one spawns. And if you kill one or cut off their tails, they will literally eat their own tails for sustenance.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hungry.
They're
There's
so
one-
hungry.
There's
Don't
one
be
devil.
mean.
There's one Devil Joe called the World Ender, which is just a Devil Joe doubled in size.
Yay.
This thing made the game the equivalent of a survival horror because anywhere you go, anywhere at all, Devil Joe could just fucking show up.
Yeah,
Scaramouche.
that's
And
something I was a little disappointed about in World, actually, because in World they did have the Devil Joe, and I was very excited for it, but they actually decreased his difficulty significantly.
which is weird because in World he has a whole expanded moveset
Yeah,
where he can pick up other monsters and throw them at
Yeah.
you and just beat you with them.
it's great.
That's great.
If you get him in a trap, he will fight while in that trap.
Yeah,
He won't stay stuck. He's oh god, they expanded his moveset so much. I'm so
They,
Yeah.
they,
Don't-
they
don't be mean
properly
to him.
communicate how fucking pissed off he is at all times.
yeah. The
He's
big
pissed
issue,
off and hungry.
the big
He's
issue
so mad.
was
Give
that
him a hamburger.
the big issue was that they were worried when adding him to World that World was made to be a game that was supposed to be more welcoming to new players. So I think they were a little worried when adding him that he would be a little too much of a problem.
I get that, but at the point you fight him, you
Yeah.
kinda already know
You've already
what you're
beaten the
doing.
game.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
beaten the game. There's no reason to start pulling punches then.
Yeah,
Which is kind of sad because he had a lot of the end game content for Try involved Devil Joe. I am amazed this person is living on this low level
yeah.
right?
damage. Holy shit. One of the weapons. Okay, that brings me into the next little fun tidbit about the game. There was actually a design a weapons contest for Try.
Mhm.
And one of the weapons, this is the one you got from basically capturing Devil Joe. It's called Lion's Bane.
Yeah.
And this was one of the hardest quests starting out because, again, he was new to the game at the time and not a lot of people knew how to deal with him. And the goal is you have to weaken him and capture him, which means you need a trap and at least 2 train bombs. And the group I was with spent they spent the entire minutes, basically until we had 10 minutes left in the game, trying to capture Devil Joe. And nobody could do it. And they all basically abandoned because they thought the quest was going to end. I had 1 trap and 2 tranks left, threw them, and they didn't do anything at first, so I just start wailing on him to the point where his HP got low enough, and the trank started to take effect, and I cleared the quest technically alone.
That's great.
Wow.
In addition, there was the other really cool weapon that came out of this design contest, and it's the one that stuck around, that's so good that it stuck around to future installments, was Sinister Sand. Ooh.
Pretty.
It's a switch axe that has the ability to be a devil axe when initially swung, but when you switch it to sword mode, it turns into an angel.
Yep.
And it's one of the coolest weapons.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that game, I have well over 1,000 hours clocked into that game.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I could go on about how, yeah, there is that technically Monster Hunter is post-apocalyptic.
Yep.
What?
What?
I don't remember all the details, but it is heavily hinted that Monster Hunter takes place in the far future where shit just goes sideways.
My evil was long. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I have been talking about this game non-stop, and I'm gonna turn it over to the floor for questions.
Okay.
I feel like I've been peppering them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that I've had asked.
I'm just happy to hear you get psyched about this, honestly.
I'm gonna have to get back into World.
I
Hey,
need to get World.
You should get World.
Yeah.
Half the fun
the world's getting a new piece of DLC content. An entire huge expansion, adding a new area.
Iceborne, they're adding Nargacuga in there. too,
And
which is really fun.
Tigrex.
And a
Brachydios.
Moose Wyvern.
Moose Wyvern looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll-
I've seen the Moose Wyvern.
Yes, you
Looks
have.
good.
Yeah, I need to get into Worlds because half the fun of Monster Hunter for me has been playing it with friends, and by the time it came to PC, everybody had kind of moved on.
Yeah.
You and me both, James.
It was
Cry.
it was an issue where World had this distinct issue where they weren't keeping up enough content to keep people interested. Was a big problem because
Yeah.
a while back they promised, hey, we're going to add a new monster every month, but then they decided to not do that in turn for making a big expansion instead, which is fair, but also unfortunately made a lot of people lose interest.
The cool thing about Monster Hunter from a development standpoint is how they design monsters and how they get them into the game.
Yep.
Basically, every monster category has its own base skeleton that the monster is built around. So, for example, wyverns like Raytheon, Rathalos, and Diablos
Insect monsters.
all have a similar kind of morphology that they're built around and coded from. So, and half the development of new Monster Hunter games is just getting that skeleton into the game.
Yeah.
Once that skeleton is in, every monster that has that skeleton type can get in.
Yep. And
So-
unfortunately, Worlds does not have any insect-type monsters because of this.
Yeah, because insect monsters are one of the most complicated monsters to have to build the skeleton around.
Yeah.
So they take a lot longer to.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunate, too, because insect monsters are actually my favorite in Monster Hunter.
Yeah. You got a favorite, J-Man?
My favorite monster? Okay, so while it isn't a insect monster, my favorite monster overall is Zinogre.
Yeah, lightning puppy.
Yeah, it's great. He roars at the sky so hard the sky goes, oh shit, and casts lightning.
Brachydios.
Ooh, Brachydios is great.
Brachydios is great. It's basically a punchy dragon with
Explosions.
napalm on his fists. Glavius was another favorite. He's not in Tri, but he's in 4 Ultimate
Yeah.
Double Cross.
And they are adding
Yeah.
him and Brachydios to World in the next expansion.
Yeah. But a lot of my fondness for the series moving forward, especially with 4 Ultimate with Gore Magala and Shin Magala.
Oh, Gore Magala
Oh.
is hype as shit. It's dumb and edgy, but it's so hype. That shit. All right, so for those of you guys who don't know what Gore Magala's deal is, it's a monster who makes other monsters go nuts just by being around. And so the first time you fight it, it is the like staple like, "Oi, this is the problem monster. Kill it" in this game.
Pull up Gore, pull up Gore.
And
Its friend.
when you yeah, I'll pull it up in a sec. When you kill it for the first time, it will just it'll go down and go, yeah, it even plays the fucking "You Won" music. But then all of a sudden it starts getting awfully dark where you're at. And then you look at Gore Magala and it's twitching. And then it gets up and it fucking has grown horns. And it's
Christ.
and it looks like this shit right here, and its wings now have hands. It's so
Oh
evil.
my god.
And then, not only that,
Sick.
but then you kill it again, and then as the end of the low rank quest line, I believe. And then you go in the high rank, and the final boss of the high rank's like, "Oh yeah, no, you didn't kill it. It just went to sleep. It's back. It molted, and now it's golden." And it's called the Shigeru Magala. And I just want to point out, Shigeru Magala's the quest to hunt him has one of the coolest quest names ever, which is Heaven's Wheel.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so dope.
And it's go ahead.
Fun fact about Gore, it's technically blind until it goes enraged.
Yep.
Because its horns cover its eyes.
Oh, that's
That's
awesome.
cool.
Yeah. When you're fighting Shigeru Magala too, it's like normally Monster Hunter you're dropped on a world map to go and find the monster you're hunting and whatnot. This one's like it's like, oh yeah, no, it remembered you. It's waiting for you at the top of a fucking mountain to 1v1 you.
Oh god, it's got a halfway form called I think it's Frenzy Magala?
Yeah, it's half and
Where
half.
it's like, yeah, it's like halfway through its molting.
Yep. I can pull up a picture of it.
This series has so many cool monster designs. I love it so much. Speaking of insect monsters, the final boss of one of the, I think it's Double Cross,
Yeah.
is a monster that has the ability to pilot the dead remains
It's so
of giant
cool!
crag like it's a mech.
Yep.
Wow.
I forget its name.
Yeah, I don't remember it either, but it's so fucking cool. It's like, it's literally piloting around in a fucking just a fuck ton of Elder Dragon skeletons. Fun fact though, they recently re-released Monster Hunter Double Cross on Nintendo Switch, and it's actually very, very good. I've only played the demo, but it does have a really fun addition where you can play as Palicos.
Oh, dope.
Yeah,
And it's
you can
really
play as
fun.
little cats. It's also got hunting arts, which I believe kind of got co-opted into the slinger
Yep.
in Worlds, where you can basically decide how your class plays.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like more aerial styles, you can go an aerial style where it replaces your evade with a little hop.
Yeah.
And if you nail that hop on the side of a monster, you can basically pole vault off of it. So basically, you can take the insect glaive mechanic of vaulting around monsters and apply it to something like a great sword.
Yeah. I think Double Cross on Switch especially is like a really sweet in-between point between Worlds and Classic Monster Hunter, where it has the challenge of Classic Monster Hunter, but has like the control of Worlds. And
Yeah,
so it feels really
it's
nice,
got-
and plus it also has a infinitely bigger cast of monsters than Worlds had.
It's got a huge amount of it's got a huge cast of monsters. It's got every weapon type up until then.
Yeah.
It has the ability to play as Palicos. It's got, again, a huge cast of characters.
And
Free
you can
DL.
can you fight big? This is the game that you can fight Big Boy on top of a mountain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can fight
I'm so interested
He's
now.
not the flagship of Double Cross.
But you
Double
can
Cross
fight
has
him.
like Double Cross has like 4 staple dragons. One of which they have one that's a Kitsune type dragon.
Yeah.
That puts sleep bubbles out. It has one that's a giant woolly mammoth.
Yeah. That fucker.
One that's the Glavius, which is a dragon that has the like a sword-like tail.
Yeah, it's made out of flint.
It has the ability to coat that tail in like oil and ignite it. And it has by far one of the coolest dragon concepts, where it's a lightning dragonfly dragon.
Yeah. Looks great.
Get its name.
It also has the best monster, Nibblesnarf.
I mean, just the name makes it the best.
You're making that up, right?
No,
I'm not. Hold on.
I got
I
it.
demand to be shown Nibblesnarf.
Nibble snarf.
Nibble snarf.
Here we go. I can't believe we went from the top of the
Show the
mountain to
boy.
the ones digging around in the trash pile.
I love him.
Look,
I love him.
It's a fucking sand bulldog.
Just
it's
stand
just a
so
mouth.
cute.
He's adorable. Look
Just
at
a
him.
mouth.
Yeah, it is
It's
just
a mouth with stubby legs.
It's a mouth with legs that is like.
Oh,
Man,
no, I love him.
I want the giant kaiju equivalent of a chattering teeth that like comes around and bites people.
Yay.
I want Godzilla's comedy prop.
Oh, here's a great image I just found. It'll pop up on screen in just a minute.
Yeah, I love you. Oh, yeah.
his little eyes.
Ah.
Nico, that's the emoji.
Oh, I've got the name of the the dragon, the mech one.
What's that?
Nibbles snarl.
The,
Green boy.
it's Astalos. That's the lightning.
Oh, lightning bug
He
one.
can basically channel lightning to his horn and swing it like a blade.
Yep. It's awesome.
Oh, God.
That's cool.
So-
Oh, he's angry.
Like, I think World is overall a very good game. World kind of loses a lot of the charm of Monster Hunter in the sense that it loses a lot of variety. All the monsters in World, if I'm being perfectly honest, are fire monsters. That's it. Which is
I
fine.
like Lehiana.
But
Lehiana's great.
And
Yeah.
the good thing about World is that they are supporting the shit out of it. It isn't
Yeah.
like Anthem or something like that,
Yeah.
where it's okay, well, goodbye, and they just kind of fuck off. They are hard at work supporting the game. So at the end of World's release, like however World ends is going to lead to a much more robust
yeah,
next
definitely.
game in the franchise. This fucking thing. Like you look at it, this little insect fucker. You look at him.
Don't be
and
mean to him.
You don't see much, but then he like gets in his mech.
Yeah,
He gets in his name.
I don't have a picture of his mech, unfortunately.
I've got a video where you
Oh, send me that shit.
basically sets up. There you go. Fucking take it.
Go
Can I just make a quick comment
Oh.
on Nibble Snarf
on
before
ahead.
we show the video? He looks like he's wearing one of those fake glasses, like with the nose and mustache. This
Fun,
guy's.
fun fact: his gear is basically like imagine Desert Trash Man.
Yay.
I love him.
He's got it's glass. It's like goggles for his armor.
Friend.
Yeah. Nibblesnarf is a good bean. I definitely highly recommend if anybody's looking to get into Monster Hunter, Worlds is a fantastic first game to get into it. I think if you really want to like get like a more of experience of like the more wider varieties and how challenging it can get, Double Cross on Switch is a very excellent choice.
I would say that Worlds helps you understand what's great about Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
And helps you like really get on with it.
definitely.
And Double Cross will enhance your appreciation of the franchise.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say one little thing about Monster Hunter. Monsters come in different sizes. There's actually an RNG mechanic in the game where you can fight smaller or bigger versions of the monsters.
Yeah.
And some people, I don't know who, I could never possibly name, I don't know,
Yeah.
a crazy person would kill a certain monster 428 times to get to see its biggest version because he wanted to 100% complete the game.
Yeah.
You are a goddamn like armor and all.
Oh, I'm not talking about me. I'm at
Oh.
least I'm at least a I'm at least a normal person.
Yeah, I was about to say we're gonna have to talk about that. But 100%ing this game would be ridiculous between all the weapons and armor you have in it.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Twitch.tv/PIV0. Anyways.
Go check that shit out anyway.
Oh, wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
Well,
kidding me?
100%
Are you
the game.
surprised?
What the
Have you
fuck?
met Piff?
No, I did. Why this
I didn't know
game?
he picked this game to 100%.
It was World specifically.
Holy,
Yeah,
okay,
I didn't know
that's
he picked
better.
100%. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Another thing about World that I really, it's kind of a personal irk. The weapon designs in World are not as interesting as.
Yeah,
the
a lot of them are
boss.
really stock, with slight color changes, which is very unfortunate. While usually every monster has a very unique design for their weapons. Like, for example, in World, the Rathalos hammer is just a hammer with some Rathalos scales on it. You know what the Rathalos hammer is in the other games?
What's that?
Fucking head.
It's just its head. You cut off his head and put it on a stick.
Same thing with the Gormagala on a hammer too. It's
Yep.
just his fucking head.
It's fucking great.
yeah. It is.
Also, here we have in the video him getting inside of his mech.
Oh yeah, perfect timing.
What?
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
it just has a fucking mech.
yes.
Don't worry about it.
Fuck Mac.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, what a good boy.
Oh my god, dude.
Fuck!
This is so fucking.
big.
It's so fucking cool.
Great.
I love him.
Yeah. And you can fight this thing as a cat.
It's not just bones. It's a mixture of bones and trash from the environment.
Yeah.
I love him.
So smart!
Yeah.
It's
Really
so
Please be nice to the weird alien bug. Do not be mean to him.
Guys, I don't think we can take Nico monster hunting.
Never.
Do not be mean.
In the MMO, I believe there's actually a class where you can actually like tame a monster to like be your companion.
Ooh, that I tried to get the MMO to work back when
Good
everybody
luck.
was Worlds. Yep, nope. No American release there.
Yeah.
God, yeah, but Nico, there's a panther dragon called Nargacuga.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah.
I like this game mostly for, like, I've never played any of them. I have tried, but I've never played it. I just own it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I haven't. I bought it, like, it was the last game I bought for my Wii, and then I packed up my Wii, and I never touched it again.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. But I
I-
really like the monster designs because they're, like, they're based on like, you can look at them and be like, ah, shit, this is what it does environmentally, like, it's an animal, and I like it.
Oh yeah. Also, if you guys want to point out, Bearsy in chat points out there is a canon crossover between Witcher and Monster Hunter.
There sure is.
There's also a canon crossover between Final Fantasy and Monster
Yeah.
Hunter.
That's
I still need
Yeah.
to get that mount.
And Mega
Yeah.
Man.
There's also the Inuyasha's weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Papa's tooth.
There's a collaboration with that in Monster Hunter 2, where you can just get the Hitsuga.
Oh, whoa.
Yep.
I don't know if it's this one or in 3 Ultimate, but you can.
Yeah.
I think I played 4 Ultimate on the 3DS, and the controls were the worst.
Yeah.
That was back before the new 3DS, and I had the little.
I got the Circle Pad Pro. And
Yeah.
it made it better, but
Yeah.
It
That
also-
was a very big problem
still
with the
wasn't great.
3DS versions. The 3DS versions did not have great camera control at all.
They did try to make up with it by adding in walk on, which. Thank
No.
fucking God.
It works, but only when it chooses to. But yeah. Anything else to talk about Monster Hunter wise, James?
That's about all I had. I just really loved this. Like, this is the game that kick-started my love for the franchise, and that's still one of my favorite games today.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get Double Cross for the Switch now. I think
Yeah, it's really good.
You can add me on your Switch, Jay, and I'll carry you through pretty much the entire game.
I would love to join for that because I've been wanting to play Monster Hunter game for a while. I just didn't pick up
Hell
Double
yeah.
Cross because nobody was playing it.
There is a copy of Monster Hunter World in my house. It's not
Oh, shit.
mine.
I
But
Gladly play World with you, Amy, because
I would-
love
Yeah,
World.
Iceborne.
I would love to get in Stream Worlds because I've been wanting to play that for a
I
while.
Yeah.
would be down to do that.
This
Hell
chat was
yeah.
here for me streaming my first expedition into World and beating it, so that was more or less the inaugural stream of this channel. So going back to it would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also how I
Yeah.
met fuck ton of people. But
Plus, if I get it on PC, there's plenty of time between now and whenever
Iceborne
the
to catch
hell.
up.
Yeah, for
To
sure
catch up when
is.
it comes out.
yeah. Yeah.
That's all I had.
Cool.
Thank you guys for helping.
Yeah. So, before we switch off to anything else, James, you have 5 words to describe Charles Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden.
A mistake.
There you go.
A
that's 2
mistake.
words. You have 3 words.
A
You
mistake
have
with
4.
like 3 periods at the end.
Fair. All right. So, well, first, I recommend.
Don't know if we have time for Jay tonight. Or I don't, at least.
So I'm just gonna say right now, if Jay does choose to go right now, might wanna stand up and go to the bathroom for a second.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Oh, I don't think mine will be that long. I think I can do it within a half an hour. I think I can speedrun this.
Uh-huh.
Are you gonna talk about trails?
We're gonna
Yes.
see. We're gonna find out.
Well, it's either that or Jay's gonna do the thing he does where he's going to do a joke thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You already sniped me with Charles Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden. So...
Yeah.
oh, I can do a mini one on Shut Up and Jam Gaiden while we're waiting for everybody. to
Yeah,
go
I could
bathroom.
also do a
Everybody
mini one
should
on
go
a real
bathroom
game.
Also. No, like okay. But Shut Up and Gem Gaiden is actually fascinating because I just read about it recently and it's semi-topical.
Yeah.
So Shut Up and Jam Gaiden is actually a legitimately pretty good game.
Mhm.
It has no right to be as good as it is. And they were coming out with a sequel that turns out is super dead, unfortunately.
Yep.
And I just found that out last week. Everyone abandoned the project. So
Aw.
Shut Up and Jam 2 is unfortunately not happening,
Yep.
it looks like.
Thanks, Charles Barkley.
Thanks, Charles Barkley.
Hopefully you'll be still fighting the Monstars and some other time.
Yeah,
But-
thanks to the nature of internet projects. That was my incredibly short one.
Yeah. I could, while everybody's going and getting bathroom bullshits and whatnot, I can briefly discuss a thing I was going to discuss last stream before I was done to join SMT instead. If folks are down for that while waiting.
Yeah, what you got?
Oh.
Let me...
Oh, it sounds like James is back already. Are we all just here?
I'm JJ's restaurant. I'll be right back.
Okay, go.
Okay. Let me just pull this up real quick. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about a game called Grandia. I could talk about the entire series I want. I'm just going to talk about the first one. I'm going to skip over the mechanics because the mechanics are honestly super simple. It's just trails combined with Secret of Mana. With a bit of like a slidey turn order mechanic that I would describe as curling. But the concept of Grandia is actually one I really enjoy a lot. The overall main plot of the game, very simple. Nothing special there. But the big gimmick of the game is that your character's entire purpose in the game is to not save the world, not trying to help anybody, not trying to do anything particularly special. Literally the only thing he wants to do is go on a fucking adventure. And that's what you do at the start of the game. So, the game literally opens with you going like your dad used to be a great old adventurer, and he went missing one day or whatever. And the game opens with you literally going up to his photo, and you raise a weapon in the air and declare that you're going to be the greatest adventurer in the world. But the thing is, you at the start of the game, you sure don't have any cool weapons, so you sure do raise a fucking, like, mallet in the air. A wooden mallet. You play as the red-headed boy in the bottom right corner. His name is Justin. And this game... this game came out during the era of bad PS1 voice acting. So all the characters sound like shitty Saturday morning cartoon characters. It's wonderful.
Is it as bad as What Am I Fighting For from Zero?
Nah. It's still pretty bad though, but big thing with the game is that there is a gigantic wall that's like just in the middle of the continent you're on. Nobody knows what's on the other side of this wall. Nobody's ever been there. And you're trying your best to get there and climb over the top. And throughout your journey there, you meet lots of different characters, like the green-haired girl Fina, the main heroine. Then you also start the game with your little cousin Sue, who is literally a character who got roped into this super hard. She has a dumb, goofy furball mascot thing. And you just go through and there's and it's also kind of a game where it's a race at the same time, because this prince of this big old dumb empire is trying to get to the top too, as his like at the top of this wall as well, to be kind of like his way of showing that he's worthy of the throne, basically.
Yeah.
And you're racing each other to the top, and what's nice about the prince is that he's not a fucking bad guy.
Oh, huh.
He's a straight up pretty decent good person, and there's even a point early on where he's like, we're kind of going against the same way. We're going against each other, I know, and I could totally snipe the shit out of you right now, but I won't. Fucking let's go.
That's great.
And you're given like a bunch of you're given a dumb cast of Team Rocket shitters who work for him that try to stop you, but like none of them are really bad. And eventually you get, and at the game you do eventually get to the top of the wall, and that's actually the midway point of the game. And I'm not going to talk about what's on the other side of the wall. That's the entire second half of the game. But I just want to talk about how this game is done pacing wise, because it's actually pretty hilarious. So the game starts, you just leave your town or whatever, and you go to an ancient ruin. And you go to the ancient ruin, and then you meet a dumb celestial spirit lady who's like, the wall! And then you go to the wall. But in between then, you go on a boat to clean up, and you don't have money to pay for going on this boat because you're a fucking kid. So you literally have deck swapping minigames. And then you meet a bunch of different characters, and what's really nice about this game is that if a character no longer has a reason to be in your party, they'll just leave.
Ooh,
like,
very, very Trails.
Yeah, like for example, there's a character in it who just like, yeah, we made it to the top of the wall, cool. But I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting there to be more for us to do. When we got to the top of this wall, I need to go back home. And so they do that, and it's like, well, alright. And it also has some cool shit where you meet this one character who does a super move, and then the main character, Justin's like, whoa, that's fucking crazy, I want to learn how to do that. And he literally teams up with this guy for a while just to learn this dude's super move. It's great. And just the amount of bullshit that'll just come at you in this game is wonderful too. Because, like, for example, there's a bit where you're going across a river and you have this really dumb emotional talk with the character Fina. And I won't say exactly what they're talking about, but they actually handle this one subject in the game really maturely. I won't say what it is, but it's really interesting. Especially for the main character, Justin, who's like fucking 14. And it's like, oh shit, our emotional talk interrupted by a ghost ship. Oh no. And you have to go on this ghost ship, and you beat up the ghost ship, and it's like, oh god, the ghost ship crash landed into a mermaid's den. And you have to go through that entire bit, and it's just a really fun little adventure. And sure, it has a story. Story doesn't matter. Like, not only, like, fucking after you finish the mermaid bit, you crash land on an island, and the local islanders there are planning on sacrificing you to their volcano god. So who cares? But, yeah, like, of course the game eventually introduces a big bad, and the big bad's boring as shit, who cares? Also, the final dungeon sucks, but, eh.
JRPGs, the final dungeon is never good.
Yeah.
That's rule number one.
But all in all, I really do love this game, and it's getting an HD release of the entire Grandia series on Nintendo Switch soon.
Oh, yo, seriously?
Yeah, I highly recommend anybody who is vaguely interested in just like a dumb, fun adventure game to pick this up.
Check that out.
Because
How many games are there?
3. The second one was actually previously not playable to PlayStation owners. Because the games were originally Sega Saturn exclusives.
What?
And only the first and third game got ported to to PlayStation, but the second game stayed a Saturn exclusive. And a Dreamcast. I think the second game was on Dreamcast, but whatever. And there's actually
Nobody has those.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was my first gaming system.
It's fine.
Seriously?
After the N64, yeah. It caught on fire. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Between the N64 and this Dreamcast, I gotta wonder how cursed your console collection is.
You mean
Jay.
Steve Buscemi's haunted
Yeah.
Nintendo 64?
That's a tale for another podcast.
Yeah, no, that's a podcast dedicated to Steve Buscemi's haunted Nintendo 64 that I have.
Yep.
I'm gonna check out Grandia though. Like I've been meaning to forever.
I love it so much. It's
The name's been floating around my head.
I haven't.
for the
I just
longest
haven't
time.
gotten around to it.
so, like, I can't blame anybody who play it who won't enjoy it. Like, I'll be honest, the combat's super jank, takes a bit of getting used to, but just the overall story and characters are so damn charming. I love it so much. Like, there's literally a character in that game who joins you for 5 fucking minutes before they leave your party forever. It's hilarious. They show up and they kick super amounts of ass. I won't say who they are because it's actually really cool who they are. And they're like, I'm trying to find my significant other. And you do exactly like 3 fights with them, and then they find their significant other, and it's like, all right, I'm done, bye. And they're the strongest party member in the game.
Shit.
Trails pulls that shit, and I love it.
Yeah,
Always.
it's great.
So good.
Would you say that the lack of a main core plot really doesn't matter because the characters themselves?
Not at all. Like, I'll be honest, the actual main plot is the lowest point of the game. And the game has some issues with dungeon design, especially in the later end, but most JRPGs of that era had that problem, if I'm being honest. And I am very excited for the Grandia collection, because I actually never got to play Grandia 2. So I am so excited for that. Grandia 3 is very good as well. It's a bit of a different style of game, but it's still very good. It also has one of my favorite like town designs in any game ever, where it's like this town has basically like a roller coaster for planes. That's how they take off, because they don't have enough room for a airstrip to take off with. So they literally built a roller coaster on top of a bunch of roofs so they could take their planes off. It's great.
Oh, yo, that's fucking dope.
Yep. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Hell yeah.
Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna launch into what I'm gonna talk about, and I can do it relatively quickly because originally I was gonna talk about one game series, but now I've decided to go full fucking feral for the next probably 20 to 30 minutes, and unfortunately you all are along for the ride, so I'm preemptively going to apologize because this next one is
Oh no, you're holding us here against our wills.
Oh no.
No, we can't escape.
Yeah, so, J-Man, if I could ask you for a favor.
Yeah.
Drop stream. Hand it over to me.
All right.
Oh.